Welcome to the Grief and Belief podcast, where we share stories of hope. Thank you for joining us. We hope this powerful story will help you feel God's love for you today.
Welcome to another episode of the Grief and Belief podcast. I'm David Mickelson.
And I'm Kori Andrews.
And we are here with another episode today and really excited about who we have on to visit with us today because you all know her mom. We interviewed a little while ago Jordan Robertson, who shared the story of her husband, Jake Robertson, passing away about 10 years ago. And after visiting with Jordan a little bit more, she said, you know who would be a really good guest? My daughter, who is just so awesome. And so we're really excited to have Ellie Robertson on today. She's going to talk about her dad. This was 10 years ago. Ellie was 8 years old when her dad passed away. So, we're picturing her being this young girl, baptism age, and just the challenges that would happen having your father pass away at a young age. And so we're excited to learn from her. She's going to specifically talk about the plan of salvation and the role that it's played in her life in helping her find hope during, in this facing these challenging circumstances. So, Ellie, we're super excited to have you jump on with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Ellie, I know we're here to talk about your dad, but can you just tell us about your mom real quick? Maybe somebody hasn't listened to her episode yet. Why should they listen to that one? And also, what do you love about your mom?
She is the most incredible person I know. Just my biggest role model and just someone who has always been there for me. She's currently getting her degree in counseling psychology, which is super cool. She is very good to talk to, and she likes to use her therapy techniques on me when I'm just talking to her, but it's okay.
Sometimes when she's doing that, are you like, Mom, I know what you're doing?
Yeah.
Yes. You can tell when she switches into the therapy mode and the therapy voice comes out. It's like, yes. And what else are you feeling? Like, Mom, I'm not your client, but I love her. She is awesome. She is so strong. She's the greatest Christ-like example that I know. And yeah, she just really has a wonderful testimony and has instilled so many good principles in me. And I'm so grateful that I have her.
That's so cool. We think she's amazing as well, and maybe we've been talking to her about having her back on the podcast, and maybe we could do a little bit of the therapy mode here so she can do a little less. No, but yeah. So no, we're grateful to learn more from her, but today we're so grateful for you and for your willingness to share a little bit about yourself and about your dad. So introduce yourself. Who is Ellie Robertson?
It's a great question. Yeah. So my name is Ellie Robertson. I just turned 18 this month, so now I'm officially an adult, which is fun. And now I have to bring my driver's license places, so that's new to me. I go to Tintview High School. I am a senior. I only have 4 classes, which is incredible. And it's making me not want to go to college now because high school is just so easy. But I play soccer. I've played since I was a little girl. And that is super fun and takes a lot of my time. And in my free time, I also work at Great Harvest Bakery. And I don't bake the bread because that bakers get there at 3 a.m. I don't think I could ever do that. But so that's been super fun.
You put together a mean sandwich, though.
I put together a mean sandwich. It is delicious. Yeah, I make some crazy concoctions there. I made a chickle the other day, which is a cheese pickle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that. I'm gonna put it on the secret menu.
Yeah, I need to try this one. Let me know when that's on the menu.
Oh, I will. You dip it in some ranch. It's perfection.
Ellie, would you talk about soccer just for a little bit? Because I think when you say I play soccer and I spend a lot of time doing it, I don't know if that does it justice. I get the feeling that you're a really quite a good soccer player, and that from what I understand, travel around quite a bit doing soccer tournaments and other things. It seems like it's really kind of a major part of your life.
Yeah, it is a major part of my life. So I played high school, so that's always in the fall, and that's been super fun. And then I'm also on a club team, and so I was on Celtic, and now I'm on a team called Surf. But it's awesome because the teams we play like are located in different states. So I've gone to Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, California, and then we have like tournaments and like showcases and stuff like in even further locations. So I've been to Florida a few times, New Jersey, Texas, and I even got to go to Spain 2 years ago to train there. And that was a really, really cool experience.
Yeah, I just know the better you are, the farther you travel when it comes to soccer. So if you're going to Spain, to me, that means you're pretty darn good.
Oh, I'm okay. We'll leave it at that. I'm okay.
I also have a note that you like fashion and thrifting.
Yes, I do. I love going to a thrift store, but I have to go alone because I have yet to meet someone who can stand to be there as long as I like to be there. Because when I go, I'm there for hours.
Yeah.
Hours. I've
That's
tried.
what it takes.
What?
That's what it takes to be a
Yeah,
good
I
thrifter.
know,
Yeah.
because the people who bag on it are the people who only go for 30 minutes to an hour because they're not gonna find you. Gotta dig. You gotta go piece through piece.
Yeah. It's a treasure hunt.
It is a treasure hunt, but there are some good treasures to be found. So yes, I do love that, and it's a lot cheaper than other clothes. So that is also a pro.
That's so fun. Awesome. Well, it's so good to get to know you. Tell us a little bit about your family now.
Yeah. So I have 3 siblings, my little brother who's in 6th grade, and then I have a sister who is a sophomore at Timpview, and then I have a sister who's 19, and she's currently serving a mission in Winnipeg, Canada. So that's super awesome. I love my siblings. They're the best. We play more than we fight, but they're super awesome, and we have some good times together. And then I also have a stepfather and then 3 stepbrothers who are all in their 20s.
Okay, that's quite a family,
That's the
and
family.
that's amazing to say we laugh more than we fight because I think every family has a balance of both, but how much of a balance, is always unique to the family. And awesome that you guys get along and have fun together and play and do all of those things. So um now introduce us to your dad. Help us get a feeling for him. And again, recognizing that you were 8 years old when he passed away. So, some memories might be a little foggy or not as crisp, but kind of interesting to know what would an 8-year-old remember 10 years later. What was it, what's important to them. And so how would you describe your dad, Jake?
He is just the best. He he loved to play with us. He was very goofy. He would always be down to do silly voices, play games. He played the piano, and he had like his few songs that he would always play. One of them was Jump by Van Halen. And so as soon as we heard the chords on the piano, we would all run over and he'd play it and we would just jump around, and it was just so fun. He also was a very funny person. I don't think I quite understood his humor much as an 8-year-old. It was more witty, and I guess my little 8-year-old brain wasn't able to keep up with all of the witty jokes cracked. But hearing some of them now, I do appreciate the humor he had. He was also a great churchgoer, would always I would always be the one who was ready first. And it's funny because after he my mom would always like blame him for being late, but after he passed away, somehow we were still always late, and that's when it clicked that she was the one who took a long time to get ready and was the reason we were late, which is kind of funny. And what else? He loved sports. Sports were really, really big to him, which was awesome because me and all of my siblings, we all love sports, and that's definitely due in part to him. We always were throwing around balls, kicking soccer balls. That was what we would get for Christmas. He would give us, like, I remember getting like a set of like mini like pug soccer goals. That was just the best present ever, and we'd just go out in the yard and just kick the ball around for hours. He also was very good at laying down the law too. He had this voice, and if he said your name in the stern voice, you knew you were in for it. It was not you knew you did something wrong.
Different than the therapy voice, the mom's therapy voice, right?
Different from the mom therapy voice.
Yeah.
It's a voice that don't want to be messed with. But he also was a lawyer, and so he worked during the day. So the times that I got to spend most with him were on the weekends, and at night he would do our bedtimes usually, which was so fun. He would get home from work, open up the garage door, and it just reminds me of the one primary song, like the I'm so glad when daddy comes home, glad as I can be, and then just talks about like running to him and like climbing up on his knee, and that was just like the epitome of like what we would do every time he got home. And then he would also read us stories too, and I just remember just like laying down next to him, like him reading us stories, tucking us in, and telling us goodnight, and that was like a great way to end the day, I would say.
Oh, I love that. That brings back lots of memories from me being a young father and spending time with my kids, and just that youthful love that kids have towards their parents. Like, the moment you hear the garage door start to open, you know what's happening, and they get excited, and you run to greet them, or you hide so he can find you, or you try to scare him, or whatever, whatever each family, does. And was your dad ever your soccer coach? Were you in organized sports that young that he would get a chance to coach you?
I was actually. He coached one of my just like rec soccer teams, and I just like have this one picture. It's one of my favorites. It's just like us like both like turned around facing the field, and I'm like sitting on like the ball like right next to him, like with like the Robertson across like on my jersey across my back, and that's just like one of my favorite pictures to look at.
Well, we'll have to post that one online as your episode comes out, because that'll be a fun one for everybody to.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about your dad's passing. What do you remember about that time leading up? And again, recognizing that it might be hard to remember a lot of specifics as a 7 or 8-year-old. Tell us kind of from your perspective what you remember around your dad getting sick and his passing.
Yeah. So I think my memory isn't perfect, and I don't remember like the exact dates of things happening, because I'm just kind of like an oblivious 7-year-old at this time, just kind of going throughout life, worrying about what I was going to wear to first grade and that type of stuff. But I remember like the day that we found out that he had cancer. My mom had picked him up early from work because he wasn't feeling too good. And then we were just all like in the living room. They like turned on like a show for us to watch to kind of just like distract us and like keep us occupied. And then they just like were like talking like in the kind of like in the room next to it. And I guess at the time I was like, this is weird. Like we don't go like pick up dad from work early. Like he's usually fine. And so I could just hear them talking in the room over just about like that he wasn't feeling good, that like they should like probably like go into the emergency room and like see like what was happening, because like this like wasn't normal. And that just freaked me out. Like I just was like, I couldn't even pay attention to like the show or like movie we were watching, because I just like was like scared. I was like, what does this mean? Like, is he gonna be okay? Like, and so I just like was like really scared, but I don't think they knew that like I was like listening or could hear them. So I just like had this like just like this anxiety like built up inside me. And so a neighbor came over to watch us, and then they went to the emergency room, and I can't remember exactly how they told us or like what really happened after that. It kind of like is blurred, but then yeah, so we found out that he had glioblastoma multiforme, so it's like a type of brain cancer. And as a 7-year-old, I didn't fully like comprehend, like couldn't comprehend like what that was exactly, because a few years prior my grandma had breast cancer, but it was something that like she was able to like recover from, and like it like all like worked out okay. So I was like, oh, like cancer, like it'll be like tricky, like he'll be sick, like he might like go bald, but like it'll be okay. And so then it just so it was scary, but I was like, it's like it'll all like be okay. And so yeah, then he was diagnosed and started like having to do like radiation, chemotherapy, and would have surgeries. And it was, yeah, so and then after probably like the second surgery, it's kind of like when it kind of clicked that it was to me that it was like, oh, like something like is wrong, like this isn't like what like my like grandma went through, like this isn't the same.
Ellie,
And yeah.
I'm wondering, like, during that time, it probably threw off your whole routine, right? Like the daily get daddy's home, that like, now we're doing surgeries and doctor's appointments and everything that you had been used to probably was totally different. Is that right?
Yeah, I feel like at first, my parents really tried to like keep like the routine the same. Like I just like didn't feel like too much changed, but
Mhm.
once he continued to like decline, then like that's like when like the real changes started coming, and it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
My grandparents, so his parents actually moved down here for the last few months of his life, and they got just like an apartment like close to our house so they could like be here to help with us. And also my aunt and uncle, he was going to ASU for some master's program, so they were close too. So yeah, I just remember at that time lots of sacrifices had to be made. My mom and dad, like they were pretty like busy like doing his treatments and just like taking her taking care of him. And so my grandparents would do like a lot of like the driving, like they drive us to school. I remember my grandpa would drive me to soccer practice, and we would always listen to the radio. And there was a certain station that like I like to turn on that like had like kind of like the popular like pop songs of the time, and just like singing along to those, and him not knowing any of the words and probably not enjoying the music too much. But so he would always take me to soccer practice and games and things like that. So it definitely threw off the routine, for sure. It wasn't the same. There was no more coming through the garage door, um, but it was still good. It was still good. Um, and so yeah, just he continued to decline, but there were like we were still able to do things. He actually was able to take me because every year that when we turn or the year that we turn 8, my dad decided that he wanted to take us each on a football trip because we are big BYU fans and BYU football is our favorite. And growing up in Arizona, we didn't get to go to any of the games because they were all in Utah or in other places. And so we'd always like watch on TV, but it wasn't the same as going. And so he decided that when we turned 8, he would take us to a football game somewhere, like a BYU football game, just like as like a daddy-daughter trip. And so my older sister went to just a home game in Provo in Utah, and we have a lot of family down there. So they had a good time going to the bookstore, hanging with family, and doing that type of thing. And so then when the fall rolled around, because my birthday's in December, so we were gonna go like in the fall, like when they had their season. So technically I was 7, so I kind of got lucky with that one. But so the fall rolled around and it was kind of like up in the air because we didn't know if he was like gonna be like well enough to like be able to like take me on a trip to somewhere else. But um he got this like new device. I don't know what it's called, but it was like he had like it was like I think it was kind of like a portable like radiation or something like that. And so he'd like wear these like they were like sticky almost and they had like cords like leading into like a backpack. So he like wore that and I think that helped a lot. And at the time it was like this is like terrible to say, but it was like kind of like embarrassing and I was kind of embarrassed by it. I was like, "Oh, like no one else's like dads like are like wearing this like thing on their head." But
Mhm.
so I like remember like he was saying like we were gonna go and he was like gonna like take that obviously. But I guess at the time I was kind of like, do you have to? Like you're gonna like stand out. Um, which as like a 7-year-old, I guess wasn't I didn't want to like stand like I wanted to just like fit in, like be a part of like the crowd, I
Mhm.
guess. But so yeah, anyways, he was well enough to go and we went with my mom's parents because they are also my grandpa's also a big BYU football fan. So we hopped on a plane and flew to Nebraska of all places. And I don't know how many people are BYU football fans, but this was a game to remember. Um we so we were in Nebraska, and at the game, we were down by I can't remember how many points, but within a touchdown range. And final play of the game, it all we had the ball at the 50 about again, I was 7, so I don't think I fully understood what was going on, but it was awesome. And then our quarterback threw the ball, and then oh gosh, I can't remember who caught it. But anyway, so do you remember
I
who
just remember Tanner Mangum throwing
Taylor
it, and
yeah, Taylor
I can't
Mangum.
remember.
I can't remember who caught it, but
Me neither.
and so caught the ball, we won the game, and it was it was just such like a special memory to like have with me and my dad. Just like something that like um was just like us two. Um and so then we like went down on the field and we got to take pictures like pretending like we were the ones who like caught the ball. Um and so that was a really special memory I had before he passed.
It
Um
was Mitch. It was Mitch Matthews, by the way. I had to
Mitch
look it up.
Matthews, thank you.
Yeah.
Mitch Matthews. You saved the day. You made
Yeah.
all my dreams come true.
That's so awesome.
It was so awesome. Um and so then
Is
yeah. Sorry, what was
yeah.
that?
I'm curious to know if you have memories about kind of that last day when your dad did pass away. If that was like a memory that's I could imagine a lot of kids blocking that memory out, and
Mhm.
I could also imagine a lot of kids remembering every little thing, sight, smells, sounds, everything, and of course everywhere in between. What do you remember about that day?
Yeah, so that I'm one of the kids who won't forget that day for sure. Um, it was because he was on hospice, so we knew, like, it was gonna be any day, so it wasn't out of the blue, which was nice in ways. Um, so we were just yeah, so we knew he had good days, bad days, but we knew it was coming soon. So, um, that morning, I actually had, a soccer game, and so my grandma, took me and all my siblings to it, and I guess, like, everything that, like, we kinda went to and did at the time, um, we just, like, always, like, had it, like, in the back of our minds, like, "Is he gonna die?" Like, just, like, not, like, knowing when was really tricky, and I guess just, like, laid heavy on our minds, and so I was, like, playing in my soccer game, like, just, like, um, just probably scoring lots of goals. Um,
Yep, that sounds right.
I yeah, just, just showing off, but then I saw my, grandma get up, and she was, like, walking over to, like, my coach and, like, our, like, bench, and I guess just at the time, I was like, "No, like, I don't wanna leave, let me finish the game," because um, I knew as soon as I got home, like, that that was it. Um, and so she walked over, like, talked to my coach, and then, like, he, like, pulled, like, something out of the game, and I just, like yeah, I just remember, like, not wanting to leave, like, I was like, "No, like, let me finish, like, I don't wanna go home." Um, and so the car ride back was pretty somber, not a lot was said. I can't remember, I don't think she told us, like, explicitly, "Oh, like, your dad has, like, passed," but, I think we all just could assume, like, that's what happened. Um, and so we got home, and he, was in just, like, my parents' room, like, on the hospice bed, and just we walked in and we saw, like, my mom and my grandpa, and my mom just kind of, like, looked at us, like, with, like, a kind of, like, knowing, like, smile slash, like, just, like, the look that I guess would be on someone's face just to kind of be like, "Oh, like, he's gone." And so, I think we just kind of all, like, burst into tears, uh, and just, like, seeing him there, just, like, on that bed was really hard because he just was gone. And, like, we all knew it was coming, but just, like, having it actually happen, I think no one could really, like, prepare for that. And so, we were able to, like, sit like, lay next to him. We touched him, like, held his hand, um, and you could feel even that, like, his body was, like, getting colder, um, and so, yeah, we were just able to, sit with him for a few minutes, which was super, super nice. Yeah, and then they just the people came from, like, the mortuary or wherever it is, and then just, like, took him. So, yeah, that was the last day.
Yeah, I partially feel bad even asking you to go through that day because I know, like, those are some of the times in, with my experience that I sometimes avoid spending a lot of time recollecting it. Part of me loves to go back there because it's like
Mhm.
those were the last moments and those are sacred moments, but they're also very difficult to go. So, Ellie, thank you for being willing to kind of address something that's uh, so special and so deep and so meaningful, and of course emotional. So thank you for being willing to be brave on our podcast, and you've done such a great job. What do you remember as far as the time afterwards? Like, what was difficult and hard once dad was gone, and you're trying to fight for some sort of normalcy back in your life? um I don't know what was difficult maybe initially, and take us through maybe even today, if there are difficult things that are, still challenges for you.
Yeah. So after he passed, we were planning on moving to Utah to be we have both of my grandparents live there. We had cousins, just a lot of family and a good support system. So we had actually already purchased a house, and both my mom and dad were able to walk through it together when we were visiting Utah. So it just was cool to think that he was able to see this new house and choose it for us, I guess. And so we had a funeral in Arizona, and then we had one in Utah, and the burial in Utah, because he's buried here in Provo. And so I guess at the time, because we just had to pack up and move a month after he'd passed, and so that stacked with moving and having to start this new thing was really, really tricky for an 8-year-old who I had so many friends in Arizona, and it was hard to pack up and say goodbye to this life that we had built with him too, and start this new one and this new chapter that he just wouldn't be a part of. Cause I had there were spots in Arizona, even in our house, that I had memories with of him, just in our front yard, playing soccer, or just there's certain stores that he would take us to. There was this one sporting goods store that we would always go to, and so just leaving that behind was really hard, and because it just kind of felt like we were leaving behind a piece of him and our family and and my relationship with him. And then just moving here and making new friends, and just a new ward, and just all of these people who don't wouldn't even know my dad. And so just that was super tricky. And just missing him, wishing that he were there, but he wasn't. And so that brought up a lot of feelings and was hard. And then it was we moved here, and the year we moved was probably one of the coldest, most snowy winters that Utah had in a while. And we were coming from sunny Arizona where it's 90 degrees outside, and for winters, I think one time it hailed, and that was the craziest thing that had ever happened. And then we moved to Utah where there's just mountains of snow, and it's just dark and cold. And I think that just contributed to these feelings of sadness and loneliness almost, and just missing my dad. And as over the years, it's gotten so much better, and it's not something that's just a constant weighing on me. But it's more just there are times when it just peaks, and I'm oh, I really miss my dad. And then other times where I just life is great. It's not even on my mind. But I would say this year it has been harder than in years past, just because this is a big year for me. I became an adult. I turned 18. I'm gonna graduate. I played my last high school soccer game. And just all of these moments that I wish he could be a part of. And seeing all the other girls and just people my age with their dad, and just having that, and I just just don't have that. And so I feel that's been tricky, and just thinking about graduating, and he's not gonna be there. So that probably plays a lot into these feelings that I have.
Ellie, did he get to baptize you? I can't remember.
Yeah, he did. And that was super special. He baptized me, I think it was 5 months before he passed, so it was on the end of his life. And it was a super, super special day, and I just will forever be grateful for that. And I just remember like practicing like the handholds before, because like he he had like a hard time like remembering things, I guess. And so we practiced before to make sure we got it right, and we went in to the font, and I like put my hands on his wrist, and he dug me under the water, and I just felt so lots and lots of peace. It's just like that confirmation of like it's gonna be okay. Like even when he's not here, like you're gonna be okay. And so that was a moment that I will never forget.
Wow, that's cool that you had that moment and that memory that you can kind of turn back as he misses, a lot of these other incredible milestones in your life that you can remember that one, right? That when you entered the gate of baptism, like he was there and you had those feelings. That's kind of cool. Any other like uh things that helped you? Maybe it was resources or books or music, or like what would you turn to in that time when, or as you've experienced this grief, what resources have helped you, Ellie?
Yeah, so I feel like there's there's been a lot of things that have helped me process my grief, and just been able to like feel God's love through lots of things and people. Um, one thing that has been super awesome is just like being active and like playing soccer. Just like finding like something you love, I think helps kind of like combat those like feelings of sadness and grief. Just like knowing that like there's other emotions too. Like even like when you're sad and you're going through something, like you can still find happiness in other things. And so that was like a way that I was able to kind of process my grief without having to talk about it. Because as a little kid and even now, it's kind of tricky to like really put into words what I'm feeling. And so like having like a physical like activity where I could like just like kick a ball and like be able to like feel like that ache, or like and kind of like as a way to like get it out without having to like talk about it has been super
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me because sometimes, yeah, I just want to kick something, and so they're
Yeah,
like, yeah, you say like, here's a ball, like kick
yeah,
that.
exactly. Like sometimes you just wanna like punch something, or just like a way to like feel your feelings. And so
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
ball
that's
was
awesome.
better than any wall or anything that would be
A
bad.
brother,
Yeah,
maybe a brother. Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
not hit my siblings. That was good. There were times when
Yeah,
it was tempting, but we went for the soccer ball instead.
that's awesome.
Well, I'm wondering, I know you wanted to talk about the plan of salvation and how impactful that has been, just the knowledge and understanding of that. And one of the things, I think I've mentioned this before on the podcast, one of my guilty pleasures is looking up our loved ones' family search profiles. And when we were interviewing your mom, I looked up Jake's profile and I found this memory that you uploaded in 2019. So 7 years ago.
Long
This
time ago.
would have been just a few years after your dad passed away, and you would have been pretty young doing this, but you scanned and uploaded a mission letter from your dad, and I think your dad served in Spain. Is that right?
He did serve in Spain,
Yeah.
yes.
So I just want to read these two paragraphs and maybe have you think about that as you explain why the plan of salvation has been important to you. So he said, I have really noticed over the past couple of months how much I am growing. Growing is a slow process, but if you're always doing it, one day you notice how far you've come. I've been thinking a lot that the key to life is knowledge. I wish I had that quote from Joseph Smith to back me up on that. If you think about it, everything we do in this life moves us closer to our Heavenly Father, everything that we do involves an increase in knowledge. We should be doing things that get us ready to meet God. In Alma 34, it says that this life is the time to prepare to meet God. I guess that is essentially my job here, is to share knowledge. And as I unselfishly do it, I just move one step closer to heaven. And I just thought that was a beautiful way for him to kind of talk about like this knowledge of the plan draws us closer to Heavenly Father. And thought that would be a good introduction to your topic of the importance of the plan of salvation.
Yeah,
What are your
wow.
thoughts?
Wise words for a 19-year-old. Like, you
Uh-huh.
just coming up with this?
You're like, that's my
I'm
dad.
impressed. I'm impressed. Um, but yeah, I think, like, the first time that I really, like, ever heard about the plan of salvation or really, like, talked about it was with, my parents and my family, because that was, like, one of the things that they really, like, stressed about, um, and talked about was the plan of salvation. We had back when FHE was still a thing, we had many FHE lessons where we would get out a big whiteboard and we would draw, like, the whole plan out from starting in the spirit world, coming down through the veil, like, and then, yeah, the spirit world, spirit prison, and then just, like, the 3 degrees of glory, and just, like, looking, like, being able to, like, see, like, the visual and just, like, knowing, like, there is, like, life after death. Like, it's not over, like, once, you pass on from this earth. Like, even, like, as a 7-year-old who I, like, was still, like, building my testimony and, learning how to say my prayers more thoughtfully and, like, learning how to study the scriptures, like, this was just something that, like, once, like, they explained it the first time, it just, like, clicked, and I wish, um, there was, like, a certain moment where I was just this is, I, believe this, like, whatever, but, like, I, like, even, like yeah, I guess just after the first time, like, they explained and we kind of, like, walked through, like, the plan of salvation, it just hit me, like, with this, like, overwhelming, sense of, like, relief, because with so, like, many, like, uncertainties and, like, unknowns at the time, and so many, like, questions that I had that just, like, everything, like, was unanswered, and then there was just, like, this plan, like, the plan of salvation, like, this perfect laid out plan that God, had created for all of us, just, like, having that knowledge and knowing, like, no matter, like, what happened, like, this is something that is true and this is something that's not going away. It just kind of, like, really, like, was so comforting, and just having that knowledge, like, that I will be able to see him again is something that has stuck with me, and it has also helped me to become, more faithful and just, have, like, a better testimony because I just want to work towards, like, being, able to live in the celestial kingdom with my family. It just is something that, I, like, am just striving to work towards and has given me yet another reason as to why I wanna go there. Not only do I wanna go there to be with, my Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ, but I wanna be there to be with my family too. And because I know families are, forever, and it's because of this beautiful plan and our our wonderful, wonderful God, it's because of them that we are able to have this comfort that you just can't get from anywhere else. Like, no matter where you turn, nothing nothing is as set in stone, nothing is as beautiful as this plan that has been created for us.
Ellie, I think one of the ways that the plan of salvation has impacted me is it gives me a frame of reference for what's happening to our daughter Ava and what she might be doing. And I'm curious as you've kind of thought through the plan of salvation. Of course, our mind often goes to the end of the plan of salvation, which is when we get to be together forever with Heavenly Father and the Savior. But also, it gives us a peek into the time that happens between now and then when you envision your father in spirit form in the spirit world in paradise right now. I don't know, what do you picture he's doing? And how do you see your dad as a spirit kind of actively living right now?
Oh gosh, I just know he's doing his work. He's a good worker. If he puts his mind to something, like, he's gonna get it done. So, I just I, like, wish I knew exactly, like, what he was doing, like, how it all, like, really, like, works, but I know that he's doing more missionary work. He's converting more spirits to the gospel, and also, one thing that was really cool back when, the new, like, children and youth program came out with, like, the 4, like, the kind of, like, the goal sheet with the 4, like, physical, spiritual, intellectual, and social, like, when that kind of became a thing, um, I I know my dad had something to do with that and at least worked in some way to help make that happen because when he passed, or something that he would do in his life is he called it the balancing wheel, and he had the same 4 categories, and he would, write goals that he had, like, for, each of those categories, like, things he wanted to work on socially, spiritually, physically, and intellectually, and so then when this, like, church-wide program came out, like, with kind of, like, the same things as, like, what he was doing before, like, it was just this, like, super, like, cool, like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it just, like, came out, and I just, like, knew, like, for a fact that he had something to do with it, and so just, like, seeing, like, this thing, like, come down to earth, knowing that, like, my dad had played at least, like, a little part in that, I think is just something that's super cool, and just, like, knowing that, like, he did something that I can now
I,
see.
yeah, I kind of picture him like a Holy Ghost helper, whispering some inspiration into, people's ears to get them along the right track. He's like, I've already got this figured out. They're all like figuring out, like, what are we got to do? How are we going to figure this, solve this problem? And your dad's like, I did a long time ago. And, and now I'm in a position to help out where maybe he wouldn't have been, if he was in Arizona practicing law and it, so that's kind of a really interesting perspective. And the other thing I can think of, like, I remember your mom talking about how he was really good at doing research for these complicated law cases, and he just kind of thrived in that. And I'm just wondering, like, if he's on the committee for record keeping in the spirit world, like maybe he's helping us find family history discoveries of these like complicated cases where we need to get these people's temple work done, but we can't find them. And he's like one of the angels who's helping them make things possible for families to do this kind of family history research. Um, so I don't know. I like that perspective of, what are they doing? And even though we don't always get the glimpse into what it is and we wish we could see more, it's nice when you have these moments like what you expressed. Like, I know for a fact he was involved here and I don't know all the details, but I feel this in my bones. Yeah.
That's really cool. I think of like how our gifts and our talents matter and how God's going to continue to use those, right? Those things that we develop now, he's going to continue to use those on the other side of veil. And that makes what we do now matter, you know what I mean? For more than just now or our career or whatever, but that it's going to matter for forever. And that I love that about the plan of salvation is the things that we are doing, the things that we're learning, the things that we're experiencing all have a purpose related to his plan. And as you were kind of walking us through the plan of salvation, I remember this story I heard once. I don't remember all the details, but I think it was like a seminary teacher was getting on an airplane and he was kind of like praying that there would be somebody sit next to him who he could share the gospel with, right? And he ends up sitting next to this guy and they get talking and God comes up, right? And the guy turns to him and he's like, you know what? And then he finds out he's a member of the church, right? Of Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. And then the guy's like, wow, I've always wondered what you guys believe about God's plan. And he's like, the guy's like excited. He's like, are you kidding me? Could you ask me about, I teach this, right? Like, this is my thing. And so he just like gets out a napkin and he starts writing it out, and he's got all the circles and the lines, and you know what I mean? They've seen it. And he goes through and he presents it all to him, and he's all excited, and he's like, so yeah, what do you think about God's plan? And the guy he's sitting next to, he goes, just what I thought. And he's like, what? He goes, yeah, just what I thought. I knew you guys didn't believe in Jesus. And he goes, wait, what? He'd done all the circles and the thing, but he had forgot to talk about like Jesus as like the central part of, and so then he's all humbled. He's like, well, actually, and he kind of goes back and gets a chance to correct it. But I'm just thinking about him, you know, and how central he is to this incredible plan, and that he is, right. He is the reason that the plan is even possible, and the reason that it's because of him that there will be a moment where the garage door of life will open again, you know, and you'll have that opportunity to run into your dad's arms. And so with that, Ellie, with that idea, maybe we could ask you our favorite question, and that is, considering your experience with grief, what do you now believe about Jesus Christ?
I now believe that he has felt not only my pain, but everyone's, and not only pain, but every feeling that you have. And he has felt that, and he has gone through that. And because of that, we have someone to rely on, and we have someone that we can always turn to, no matter where you are, no matter what you have done. He is there for you. Um, and I know that he just loves us, and loves us so much that he was willing to take the sins of the world upon him, on his back. And I just am so grateful for that, and I'm grateful for the knowledge that I have, and the knowledge that that always uh, there's always good after the bad. That the Lord, He gives us nothing that we can't. He gives us no trials that we can't overcome and accomplish. Um, and yeah, through him, everything is possible. And through him, I will be able to be reunited with my dad and live together as an eternal family. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm so grateful for him and all that he has done for me.
Oh, what a beautiful testimony, Ellie, and what a great, I almost said young woman. You're not a young woman anymore. But what a great person that you are, and to be able to share these deep feelings. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing some hope into a world that's full of grief. And thank you for letting your light shine for all of us to feel and to hear and to experience. And we just wish you the best as you prepare for graduation and whatever comes next in your future. But thank you so much for being on our podcast today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, you guys. This was a great experience, and I have just learned a lot, even just processing and going through my feelings and just learning more about Jesus Christ.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
You're awesome.
Thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their story of hope. If you know someone who might be blessed by hearing this message, please share it with them. We would love it if you would subscribe, rate, and review, and comment on our podcast so others can find it. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, as well as join our Grief and Beliefs Facebook group. Thank you to our sponsor, High Five Live Tours, where fun and joy meet on inspiring travel experiences. Special thanks to our producer, Misty Lynn Howard. Check out her history podcast called Faith Ignited. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time.